Hi, this is John Delancey, and you are listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
There is nothing wrong with your podcast player. Do not attempt to adjust the volume. Hello and welcome back into our studio. You are now inside Studio 2009. I'm, of course, TF2 and Mike. Joining me is Steve Megatron. Hello.
Hello.
And for episode 38, we talked about the goodness of pizza last time around, and what goes great with pizza? Movies! And we are here to talk about the Jim Carrey, Leoni film, Fun with Dick and Jane, from 2005.
Meet Dick. He's a loving husband.
You sure this is a good idea?
Well, just remind him to be a little less vocal.
With a promising career.
The big boys want to see you upstairs.
Which floor? 20?
Not the 51st.
Congratulations, Mr. Harper.
But just when he thought he was on his way up,
I believe I can touch the sky. I believe.
his company
What's going on?
Hey, there's a fire. Somebody should call.
I'm so lucky that you've covered my backside.
sold him out.
He bankrupted the company, and he's getting away with $400 million.
Our savings, our pension, everything is gone. We may be in a little bit of a pickle, Dick. Our lawn was repossessed today. I didn't even know they could do that.
We followed the rules, and we got screwed.
Want to grab a cup of coffee while we're in here?
Ice mocha sounds nice.
All right, everybody. 2 ice mochas. Let's go. Move. Are you okay, hon?
I'm okay.
All right, nobody try to follow us, because we're desperate criminals. We're crazy people. Are these non-fat muffins? Are they non-fat muffins? I think so. Oh, geez, hon, you got to get some of those.
You're gonna get. They're using their new skills to teach big business
You want to rob Jack McAllister?
a lesson.
We gotta get this guy. He's got to go.
Columbia Pictures and Imagine Entertainment present Jim Carrey, Leoni.
Place looks amazing. What's your secret?
Fun with Dick and Jane.
We really should turn down that collar.
Can't be that bad.
This is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I can tell. This is the first time I've known about this movie for years, but I have never actively sought it out. I didn't really realize like how cool and how interesting it was going to be. And this is okay. So you know how everything now. Everything. I don't care if it's Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't care if it's Star Wars. I don't care if it's Transformers. I don't care if it's some whatever. Most movies nowadays are 2.5 to 3 hours long or longer. This movie is 91 minutes. This is an hour and a half plus 1 minute. I felt like this movie went by so damn fast.
It did.
There are no moments in this film where you can just breathe. I mean, I enjoyed the film. I just feel like, you know, if I blinked, it was I missed it, kind of thing. So the basic plot of this is that Dick Harper, played by Jim Carrey, gets promoted to vice president of communications for the major media corporation Globodyne.
It's like an Enron knockoff.
Yeah, well, that's the funny thing. At the end of the movie, they say
They make the joke, yeah.
Yeah. And this is 2005, and that was right around the time that all that was going on and whatever. I like this movie. I think it's interesting. I think it's fun. I think it's great. I think it shows, like, if you're in a situation that you think is going to go so well, and then it doesn't go well, like how desperate you get.
Well, and what's funny about it is, like, it's a remake for one, but
My God, it is? I didn't know that part.
Yeah, it came out in 1977, And
oh wow,
yeah, so it's a black comedy film of and it focuses on a married middle class couple who resort to robbery when the husband's employer goes bankrupt. And Alec Baldwin's position in this is just downright hilarious because he's a bumbling moron that runs this big company, and that's why it's in the pits. But he's like, he says, everybody's getting laid off. This guy's outside shooting stuff, one of the lines in the movie. And, it says the movie takes place in the year 2000, and Dick Harper gets promoted to VP of communications, and they put him on TV, as the company tanks right before his eyes. And, his wife quits her job as a travel agent, and he's put in a pool, and, all these things that just don't make sense, like all happening collectively at once. Like they're all getting comfortable. They're living beyond their means. They're, just all kinds of stuff happening. And, Jack McAllister takes off and thinks that, the world's great. You'll get back. And, nothing good comes of it. And the direct supervisor, who's played by Richard Jenkins, he's like drinking himself to death. He's just going through all kinds of just problems in general, just from his complicit nature of being among this whole regime happening, playing Frank Bascom. And he's paid off to more or less just let it happen.
Yeah.
And Dick and him and Dick's wife end up creating this elaborate way of robbing the guy that robbed everybody else first. But I love you sent a clip of Jason Marsden showing up at the convenience store, which was one of his first like robberies. He's like, we're doing this. And, they're in their little beat up car and driving along because they had to trade in their other car to, make ends meet. And, they're showering in people's lawn
sprinklers.
Yeah. They're going to a buffet and stocking up for one person. And just the insanity that's going on through the movie. And I forget what Blanca called him. Mr. Moron or Mr. Retard.
Yeah.
She called him Mr. Retard, and he's like, that's not my name. Or how he gets like arrested at one point and they push him over the border.
Now, see, I had a problem with that. Because he lost his wallet, so he doesn't have ID.
And he got punched in the mouth, so his mouth swelled up, and then his kid answered in Spanish, which is the only reason that they did what they did.
Yeah. But like, seriously, if I went to the border and I didn't show them ID to get into the butt of America, like, are they going to deport me?
It depends.
Like, serious.
It depends.
Well, right, but I don't know. I out of everything that they do in this movie, out of every desperate thing that they do, that was the one aspect of the movie I didn't like, was the deportation.
It still happens, though, so it's not being unrealistic.
And I'm not saying it isn't being. It is very realistic, yes. I'm just saying that was one aspect of the film that I just didn't like. The rest is more of like, oh shit, what are we going to do now?
Yeah, I liked where he started going into people's lawns, cutting pieces of it, and put their lawn back together after it got repoed.
Yeah.
And he's, his wife's like trying to save face in front of the neighbors. No, I ordered this, take it all back. And then he snaps one night and he's looking at everybody's lawn, and he just starts going out there with like this big butcher knife and just starts chopping everybody's lawn and cackling like a madman, throwing it in his back seat. And then, he's put together like half a lawn, and then one of the neighbors looks at him and he's just giving him like a dirty look, and the neighbor runs into the house and he goes to bed and he looks like a dirt pit. And and then, all the different little schemes that go on, as they're pulling their punches, trying to rob the one guy, and it's somebody he used to work with. at the ATM and or they go to it's like a porn shop or something, and
it's a head shop is what it is.
And they, he finally tells his wife what's going down, and she's like, "Give me all your money," blah blah blah. Like finally, and they actually rob a place for the first time, and then it shows them doing the more sequential, robbing more and more and more, and until they get to this last heist where they're in a bank, and two people he used to work with at Globodyne rob it too. Mm-hmm. But he gets to it first, but he's dressed like a normal dude, and they're dressed wearing like masks of Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Which is like the most obvious way of like getting caught.
Yeah, I mean I think we covered it on back over on M-Wire years ago. The Town with Ben Affleck, which is based off of a true story, based off of Boston gangsters going in and robbing banks with masks, and that whole mask thing has been around for years. Just don't put it on Milo.
Yeah, but I mean, it was interesting to see what they did with that, and then you get to the part where he's doing this whole applying well, when he applied to jobs before that, like the last one he did, it was he did like the Costco basically, and he did the other one where he got to cut in line, and just so many other things that when he finally got to find out that he was being possibly indicted, he lost his mind and went to a bar and ran into Frank Bascom. And she's like, "How many did you get him?" And he says, "He hasn't even finished the first one." He's like, "But he's the most entertaining one we've had all night."
Yep.
And because like it's all these big shots that go there to drink away their pain, and he ends up beating the crap out of Frank, and then they come up with this plan to rob Globodyne's creator Jack McAllister, and I love how that whole thing plays out.
Yeah,
and
that
how
was very
nothing
cool.
goes right, and yet they still manage to make it happen.
Yep.
It was just, I don't know, it was very inventive how they played the whole thing off, and Jim Carrey and Alec Baldwin and Téa Leoni and Richard Jenkins, like between the four of them, like that whole movie was just all sorts of fun and all over the place, and it just kept going. That it was just the most humorous movie. Like when I need a pick me up, that's usually what I watch.
Yeah, I love Téa Leoni.
I like Jim Carrey before he went nuts, but I like him in I like him in the Sonic movies though. Yeah,
him as Dr. Robotnik, which we will cover at some point, but yeah, I mean, and I'm just looking at his filmography, just films, not television, but obviously we know Fire Marshal Bill, etc. But I think we can all agree that 1994 is the start of the Jim Carrey crazy acting era with Ace and Mask and Dumb and Dumber and When Nature Calls and Batman Forever and Cable Guy and Liar Liar, and then he kind of transitions into a little bit more serious roles with Simon Birch and The Truman Show and Man on the Moon. He goes back to comedy a little bit with Me, Myself, and Irene, and obviously The Grinch in 2000.
Bruce Almighty.
Bruce Almighty, which is the only Almighty movie that I will ever watch. I will never watch Evan Almighty. And then you get to 2005 and you see that, that's the only movie he did that year.
Yep. And then he didn't do anything until 2008.
2007, number 23.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying as far as like comedies, he did Yes Man and Horton Hears Who. The number 23 was interesting. It was an unexpected move.
I love that movie. Yeah. So we will have to cover that at some point on this, and yeah, I mean, just looking at his and then her. I mean, with Téa Leoni, man. First thing, I kind of remember her as the Racine first baseman in A League of Their Own, but I don't really remember her there. Obviously, Bad Boys, she was Julie Mott. She was the girl that was Max's friend, and she was the one that was with Idiot Smith and the great Martin Lawrence. She was Kate Reynolds in The Family Man, and I love her. She is an awesome actress. I wish she
was in that the Nicolas Cage movie it was The Family Man, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I know you just said that. It triggered that, and I was like, yeah, that's another actor I like is Nicolas Cage.
That's why okay, so with films, she kind of stopped after Tower Heist in 2011, and then in television in 2011 she had Springfall, which was an unsold TV pilot, and then from 2014 to 2019 she was Elizabeth McCord in 120 episodes of Madam Secretary. She had her own TV show on CBS. I hope she gets to do more stuff soon. Like I said, I like her as an actress, and the rest of the cast in this movie is great. I mean, all of them. No matter what, it's so fun. And you're right. This is even though these situations are kind of very dark and it really makes you think, what would you do if you were in a situation like if you're at your lowest, if, anything were to happen kind of thing, like where would you go? What would you do? How would you, figure out how to live life again? And sadly, that's kind of where I am now. Now, I'm not going to go out and try to rob a bank.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And I see, whether it's comedies, whether it's dramas, whether it's action movies. I mean, action movies are action movies, but a lot of the things that I used to watch and a lot of the things I'm exploring now for visual media, I view in a whole different light now that Karen is no longer here. Like, seriously, looking at Dick and Jane, obviously, like I said, I would never go out and do this, but like, oh, hey, we need XXX amount of money. Let's go rob a bank. You say it in passing, you say it as a joke, whatever. And this movie actually shows you the consequences of going out and actually doing these actions. And
yeah, it's not a great idea.
No. A life of crime solves no problems. It just adds to your problems.
Pretty much.
So, again, it's one of those movies where it's a fun fantasy thing, and it is very relatable if you're in a dire situation kind of thing, but it's not. It's fictional, folks. Fictional characters. So, I don't know. On an enjoyment level for our scale, 0 to 5, I would probably give this a straight up 4 out of 5. I'm only taking 1 point off for the deportation scene.
I'm going to give it a 5 because I watch it. This is one of the few DVDs I still own. Although a lot of Ryan Reynolds movies anymore have been giving it a run for its money, so I don't know. Mm-hmm. Like I like the Free Guy a lot.
Yeah. Catchphrase.
Oh, that's such a funny yet horrible movie.
Yes, it is. So this has been a short episode of Studio. We're going to take a quick break and come back to close the show after this. Did you say everything you wanted to say, or was there more?
No, I just,
okay,
yeah.
No, not every podcast has to be 30 minutes to an hour, but yeah. All right. 1840 edit. All right, folks, we are back for our final words. I gave this a 4 out of 5. Steve gave it a 5 out of 5. overall, like I said, I had never seen this, so I had no I don't even remember seeing, like, as I've mentioned on this show and other shows that we do, trailers usually leave a lasting impression on me if I really, really like them. I don't even remember seeing trailers for this movie, and I don't know if that's because of 2005 was the year of Begins and all that, because, like, seriously, this to me personally felt like a sleeper comedy of that year, and I'm probably wrong in saying that, hence why I'm saying to me personally, because until you mentioned it, I almost had, like, I didn't even know it was Téa Leoni. I knew it was Jim Carrey because, hello, you're a Jim Carrey nut, and that's fine. That's who you are. But yeah, I went in with no expectations. I read a little bit of the Wikipedia article before I watched it, but I just sat here and watched it, and other than the one scene, I really, really enjoyed it.
Yep.
All right, folks, coming up, we've got a bunch of episodes coming over the summer and things like that. Next time around, we're going to go back to the Bat. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because 1939, whatever. But episode 39 is going to be Schumacher's Batman. So we're going to cover Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. And then Ryan and I have recorded the S.H.I.E.L.D. 20th anniversary of the S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2. So that'll be coming. And then Steve and I will be back with The Atom Project from Ryan Reynolds. And then after that, I think we're going to do Inner Space. Because I love Inner Space. Have you ever seen that movie?
Inner Space.
Dennis Quaid, Martin Short. It's basically Meg Ryan.
Nope, never seen it.
Okay, well, that's going to be interesting for you then, because I grew up on Inner Space.
1987.
Yep. I grew up on Inner Space.
Surprising, because I usually like Dennis Quaid, Martin Short.
Yep.
The only time I've seen Kevin McCarthy in a movie was in UHF.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Meg Ryan I've seen in movies, although she's kind of dropped off the face of the earth.
Has she?
I don't know. I haven't seen her in anything.
Interesting.
Robert Picardo.
Yep.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to do Inner Space at some point soon. I don't know exactly when, but...
Yeah, there's a couple of Star Trek alumni in there. So that'll be interesting for me.
Yeah, it will be. Oh, wow, the last movie she did was Ithaca in 2015. Wow, and before that, 2009 Serious Moonlight. Has she done...
She's only age 16. She just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, because like with Téa Leoni, I figure, if she's not doing movies, maybe like with Madam Secretary, that was a 5-year deal. So, maybe that. But yeah, no. Wow. But Meg Ryan, awesome actress. Absolutely love her. So we are going to get the heck out of here.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Like science fiction? Of course you do, or you wouldn't be listening to the Geekcast Radio Network. Well, the Mark Who 42's Universe podcast is an award-winning sci-fi radio show that's been around for over 10 years. We cover everything from Doctor Who to the MCU to pop culture and everything in between. A new show drops on Tuesday mornings on the GCRN website and all of the major podcast platforms. So listen to the Mark Who 42's Universe podcast from the universe and beyond.
Because the world needs another movie podcast.
The Geekcast Radio Network presents for your listening pleasure the Cinema Geek.
Hosted by Amanda, Kevin, Matt, and Dan.
Each week we dive headfirst in the landscape of movies as we discuss movie news, play movie games,
go in-depth on reviews,
and even have a top 10 countdown or two.
Also, don't miss our director retrospective series, where we review noted directors' movies film by film. Bottom line is, if you love movies and love podcasts, you need to experience the Cinema Geeks.
You can find us on iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, or GeekCastRadio.com.
On the Simplistic Reviews podcast, we talk movies. We talk TV. We talk.
Hello, Julie, what the heck are you doing?
Trying to make our spots sound more exciting by adding explosions.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could have got the point across with sound effects, not the real thing.
Car. Download the show on iTunes or at simplisticreviews.blogspot.com.
I'm sure your insurance company will cover that.
No, they won't.
No, they probably won't.
Thank you for joining us here inside the studio. If you'd like to get in contact with us to leave feedback for the show, there are several ways to do so. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can listen to and comment on all of our content. Send us email, feedback@geekcastradio.com. Here are all the ways you can listen to us nowadays: Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, and any other podcatching client you choose to use. Follow us on Twitter at GeekCastRadio for the network, at ITS Studio 2009 for the show. I am at TFG1 Mike. What is your Twitter?
At SCP-21.
Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/GeekCastRadio Network, and you can also check out Studio 2009 podcast over there as well. Next time, as I mentioned a moment ago, Schumacher's Batman, where we talk about Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. So that's coming up with Steve and myself. For now, I am TFG1 Mike with
Steve Megatron.
You'll hear us back in the studio soon.
We really should turn down that collar.
Can't be that bad.
Ah!